Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hi, everybody.
Well, greetings and salutations after so long.
So long. We're here. If you're following us on social media, then you know that part of the reason that we were so absent is because last month I got the opportunity to present a project that I'm very passionate about at the Eating Disorder Conference in Israel. So I was extremely wrapped up in that.
Completely, but my wife is so brilliant.
Thank you, baby.
And she was a raging success.
Thank you. So we were just caught up with other things, and we missed you, though.
We did, and we think about you every time we watch something we like.
You, the vague you. Yes.
Or even something we don't like.
Yeah.
Hello, Giraffe.
We're back, and we have some things to tell you about. There were so many things throughout the last couple of months that we really wanted to tell you about, and maybe threw a couple of nuggets on social media here and there. If you're not following us on social media, please do, because we do talk about things that we don't get around.
Yes, you're missing so much.
But we're finally back. We have some things that are new that we want to tell you about, some things that are a little older that we want to tell you about. So let's dive right in.
Yes, I just want to say also, eventually I want to do a Mimi's Corner. I've been watching a lot of television on my computer, and I got into Nordic noir. Oh my God!
It's
if you like dark mysteries, I just can't wait to tell you about them. I watched about 8 of them in about 10 days. I watched all of them, every series, every episode. Anyway,
you'll do a separate an episode just for that. All right. So the first thing we want to talk to you about is a movie that is kind of in that limbo of in between. It's done in theaters, but it's not found its place on streaming yet. And it's been a while since it came out, but we only got a chance to watch it now, and we have to talk about it. So
we have to talk about it. It was so much better than I ever even dreamed it would be.
Well, this is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And some of you know that Whitney is one of my all-time idols and was a very influential person in my life when I was younger, I should say. Sorry, didn't mean that. And so when I saw the trailer for this, I was really, really excited, and I'd been looking forward to it for a long time. It really, it seemed to touch on things that I was very interested to see what they were going to do with. So it was directed by Cassie Lemons and written by Anthony McCartan, starring the wonderful,
unbelievably good
Naomi Ackie. I didn't know her before,
she's a
but
British actress.
I think it's always so daunting to take on icons.
An icon, yes.
And she did such a phenomenal job. She evoked her, but she didn't impersonate her.
Nope.
She was so heartwarming and heartfelt, and yet full of, she was feisty. She was full of zest and life, and just the way that I think of when I think of Whitney.
It was a gorgeous performance. It really
should have gotten more attention.
So much more attention. It was a stunning, multifaceted performance. Whitney did the singing, as it should be.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time.
Some of the time
Naomi
they blended
does
it a
sing,
little bit.
but
I mean, you can't. I mean, somebody like Whitney.
It's like doing Barbra Streisand.
You can't.
You can't.
You just can't. And you shouldn't try.
But also her lip syncing was completely perfect. I thought maybe she was singing and that we'd found another Whitney.
No, but let me tell you, as somebody who watched Whitney's performances over and over and over and over again, she did every nuance. She did every hand gesture. It was brilliant. They really did some of those things, like every frame was as the original, which I think is such a huge feat.
She must have practiced in front of the mirror a lot.
Yes. Or maybe she was like me and she watched her throughout her childhood.
Maybe.
And then, she's a lot younger, so probably not.
I don't know about a lot.
I think she is. But anyway, Nefessa Williams plays Robin Crawford.
Very well done.
And this is another important point to make. This is the first time that her lesbian relationship with Robin has been addressed in a straightforward way.
It was
Sorry
addressed,
for the pun not
I
intended.
think, in another film, but not to the extent
Not
it
like
was
that.
addressed
Not
here.
like that. And I think part of it is because, well, two things. First of all, the Robin's memoir had come out, so by now it's out there. Everybody knows. And secondly, Clive Davis was one of the producers of this film, and he was practically, besides Robin, the closest person to Whitney. Played beautifully by Stanley Tucci, by the way.
So lovely. And I'm in love with Clive. I mean, Stanley just brought him to such warm life.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful relationship. It was the father she should have had.
And this is what's interesting, because a lot of us Whitney fans, I think, and especially the ones who are from the gay community, and assume that a lot of the problem with her not being able to come out or having the inner struggle with her sexuality was her mother. And this movie presents it as this. It was more of this was her father, her mother, who played by Tamara Tooney, who we adore,
and who was terrific.
She did a great job with Sissy Houston. She really humanized her, because I had a very specific opinion of her, and she really made me change my mind. She showed both sides of her.
Both sides.
And Clark Peters did a great job with making us hate Whitney's father. So, it's that age-old story of the successful artist whose family just
sucks the life out of her.
Yeah.
Also, we have to mention who was
Ashton Sanders, who played Bobby Brown.
It was uncanny.
Yes,
it was a really,
really
uncanny performance. He you could have been watching Bobby Brown.
Mm-hmm. But who wants to?
But who wants to, exactly.
Anyway, so this movie really, really captured, I think, Whitney's spirits, her weaknesses as well as her strengths. I think for many of you who did not follow her career that closely, you'd be charmed by the personality behind it. She was a trailblazer in a way without anybody really realizing it.
Yep.
Because she did it
She
quietly,
did what she
subtly,
wanted to do.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
she stepped out of the box that she was supposed to be in.
She kind of used that box and molded it from the inside without anybody realizing it.
She did something completely different and wonderful.
But it also
in the pop, the pop R&B world. But
it also really showed the tragedy of her downfall, of all the influences and all the
and may I just say one more thing? The music.
Yeah.
If you were a fan, you will be out of your mind. There's one great song after another.
And I really, something, and I don't know, maybe Cassie was a huge Whitney fan, I don't know, but to me, there's one iconic performance that Whitney once did in, I forget which award show it was, a music award show, which I was like the best thing I'd ever seen.
May have been the AMAs, I'm not sure.
I don't remember. But anyway, I always thought that it was kind of one of those things that the fans didn't like, but I loved because I come from such love for musical theater. But it was like the centerpiece of this movie.
Yes.
And I was so moved that was the choice because it was the pinnacle, the absolute pinnacle of Whitney's career. And that performance showed just what a multi-mega superstar she really was, and what an instrument she had, which was that, and I think, and the anthem at the Super Bowl.
Did you like her? Were you a fan?
Anyway, so this is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. We really recommend it.
Couldn't recommend it more highly.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't think of yourself as a Whitney fan, I think you'll
will be
really
after
enjoy
this film.
Yeah, you really enjoy this film. And Naomi Aki, I really am sorry that you did not get the credit that you deserve because it was a beautiful performance.
I think an Oscar nomination wouldn't have been out of the question.
Yeah, the movie was kind of overlooked in general. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Because some other movies got too much.
Yes.
We're not going to get into.
No,
you know
not.
what?
Yes.
Here's the thing: we're not going to name names because every year it's another movie. But every year there's one movie that everybody makes a big fuss about, and it kind of becomes like Folly a Mini because it becomes like cult mentality. This is like the greatest movie on the planet, and then it's going to win all the awards.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, every year it's a different movie.
Though Michelle was.
So you just named names.
Yeah, I just named names.
And Jamie Lee.
And Jamie Lee, yes.
as long as we're naming names. Okay. The next movie is called My Happy Ending. It premiered in theaters February 24th. I'm sure that it will be streaming or on
It will
demand.
be only streaming. I don't think it's going to be in a theater if it isn't for more than
it
5
is,
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a very small movie. I don't think it's and it's not a criticism to say that some movies.
No.
I think in this day and age, not many people go to the movies, and if you go to the movies, I don't know about you. Tell me. For me, it's like, well, does this warrant a big screen? I mean, is it very like super effects, or like is there something really exciting that I need to experience in a big theater?
Let me
in the
just
dark?
say that the only movie theater I have been in to see a movie in the last 3 years was Avatar in 3D.
We are
in
a little.
Cinerama.
We are a special case.
Not Cinerama.
IMAX. Yeah. No, we are a little different though because we
Cinerama.
get a lot of the movies in the comfort of our
Well,
own home.
yes, but still.
Some people, maybe if we had to wait for a few months to get a movie, maybe we wouldn't have waited. But for me, it's actually, to me, it's the movies are playing everything so loudly now that it just hurts my ears and I don't enjoy the experience. And then, 5 hours of commercials and previews before the movie starts, and
Well, it was worth it all for Avatar.
Well, I didn't go, in case you were wondering. It's too long for me. But anyway, this movie is based on actually an Israeli play by Anat Gov, and the film was written by Rona Tamir, directed by Tal Granit and Sharon Maimon, all women.
In case you're wondering why my wife is doing this review, you just heard it.
So it's starring Andy McDowell and many other people, but I don't know that we need to mention them all except for Miriam Margolyes. And Andy McDowell, let me pause for a minute and say, and we already mentioned this when we were talking about Maid. Andy McDowell, to me, used to always be an overrated actress.
Oh, yes.
She's not anymore.
No.
She's grown into
She's
her acting.
She's caught up with
reputation.
her reputation, which I don't think that her reputation was ever that great. She just worked a lot.
But she
has a certain charm.
But she's a
much better actress.
Yeah, and she's more interesting. Well, as women tend to be when they age,
get older.
They get more interesting. So this movie, so Anat Gov, who wrote the play, had a very public battle with cancer, and she ended up dying very young, or quite young, from cancer. And this was the last play that she wrote about a woman who used to be a famous actress, or is still maybe. Yeah, she's still a famous actress.
She's just in the twilight of her career.
Right, she's still a famous actress, and she gets. They I guess they don't want to tell you it's cancer. I don't know why, but she gets a bad diagnosis.
Yeah, you find out pretty soon.
Yeah, and
she
then
goes to chemo.
Right. I mean, it's like in the first frame practically. And in chemo, she thinks she wants to be isolated. She doesn't want anybody to know. But the women that she encounters there's
another three women in the group,
right, who are also there for chemo, and the bonds that are created, the influence that they have on her is really beautiful, and you can tell it's a play because a lot of it happens in one room.
Definitely a play structure.
Yes, a lot of it. Although they do take opportunities to go out.
They open it up. They go. They talk about things. They have memories. They have fantasies.
Right.
A lot of fantasies.
Right. But it was a really beautiful, small,
I loved it.
Heartwarming, sad, funny, a lot about female friendships and women empowering other women, sisterhood, and about those questions about life, about death, about, the things that Anat, I guess, wrestled with in those days when she was, dealing with her own mortality and illness. So
it's a little gem of a film. It really is. It's very, very sweet, and
we recommend it.
Yes, if you come across it streaming somewhere.
And it's not. I just want you to know.
It's not long.
And it's not. You hear people cancer, chemo. It's not as dour as it sounds. They really make it feel a lot more accessible, and you're just spending time with very interesting women.
You're not going to be depressed.
Right. It's actually quite meaningful. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is My Happy Ending, and I'm sure that soon enough you'll find it somewhere on streaming, but if you wanted to look, maybe a theater near you still has it.
Yes.
So we mentioned Whitney, that was my turf. Then we had something based on Israelis. That was my turf. And now, what is my third turf, Mimi?
Well, it's usually Holocaust, but World War II.
Okay, Okay, so it's time to have a Holocaust movie. It's not really a Holocaust
not
movie
really a
though. Don't
Holocaust
don't
movie.
don't be worried. Don't be concerned. It's called The Forger. It opens in New York. It opened this Friday in New York at the Quad Cinema, and it opens in LA on March 17th. And then it will have a national expansion after that. I'm sure again that it will be streaming pretty soon thereafter. Written and directed by Maggie Perrin, starring Lewis Hoffman, Jonathan Berlin, and Luna Wedler. And this is based on a true story of Sioma Schunhaus, who was, as the title suggests, a forger. Well, he wasn't originally a forger, but he became a forger.
He was a
during
graphic
the war.
artist who became a forger.
Right. So this
And they
is
do show you the intricacies of how you have
forgery.
to. Oh my God!
But not just any forgery, ID forgery.
And he always talked about things being a tiny individual piece of art,
Yeah.
and that was how he approached them.
Yeah, so it takes place in Berlin in 1942. The war is happening. This boy, Sioma, who's a very young man, his family was taken. He managed to slide and not get sent away with his family. He's
He had
Jewish.
an exemption. He worked in a weapons factory, a small one.
Right, and here is the thing about this movie, which is it's more than a Holocaust movie, more than a World War II movie. Obviously, this is the setting, the framework in which it takes place. But to me, it was actually kind of like a study in psychology, because this boy, first of all, at the beginning, it was a little confusing.
Yes.
We were a little confused.
Took us a little while to figure out exactly what was what.
We were a little confused as to the circumstance of who was who, how did he stay behind, why wasn't he sent, is he Jewish, is he not Jewish, who is Jewish, what's going on. So it was a little unclear at the beginning, but get past that. It's not the main idea of the movie. To me, what it's about is how this guy, who seemed to smile too much, he seemed to be in too much good a mood with everything that was going on in his life and around him. There's this idea that he keeps talking about, which is mimicking, where he just takes on
A persona.
whatever persona he needs to take on to make it, to get to survive. Really, it's a survival mechanism, but he doesn't let it. He doesn't let the Nazis take away his, I don't know if I can call it joie de vivre,
but his life.
his personality, his
Yes.
personhood, his individuality, his humanity.
He and his friend have a very good time, and they masquerade as naval officers, as
many, whatever it takes
he
in the
can
moment.
pass certainly for Aryan.
Yeah.
And he has he doesn't even have a real paper. He has some kind
Yeah.
of a pass that
He
lets you
has-
go get into the bus. It's
He's
kind
like
of,
the best case of resilience I've ever seen.
Yes.
He just does whatever he needs in the moment, and it works because he displays so much confidence in
Confidence.
it. And
Oh yeah, there's a wonderful scene where
Yes, we
he's
won't tell you.
in a
We
lost
won't
and
tell you.
found area.
just remember we said
Yes.
that when you get there. It actually, the movie starts there, but immediately goes somewhere else and comes
then
back.
he comes back to it.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. It's all about just
Chutzpah.
his chutzpah, his attitude towards life that allows him to, well, obviously he survives. It's based on a true story. He lived to tell the story, so don't worry about that, and it's not a spoiler. But I found it very inspiring.
And he was wonderful.
Fake it till you make it, and as long as you fake it, they'll believe you. If you do a good job at believing
Unbelievable.
yourself. So I just loved it because the things that people have to go through, the things that this person had to go through.
And he didn't even go through, the worst things that people go through, but he managed to make so much lemonade out of the lemons he was handed.
But that's the thing, as somebody, for me, I spend so much of my time with coping for myself and for other people with people who have coping mechanisms that are self-damaging, that are depression and anxiety and eating disorders and addictions and all that stuff. And to see somebody respond in such a resilient, beautiful way, not to say that it wasn't covering huge pain, but he managed to get through it in such an effective, healthy way. It was beautiful.
And all of the performances are wonderful.
Yeah.
Everybody in it is perfect. Yeah. It's a wonderful little film.
Yeah, check it out.
Surprising little film. It really is. Again, get past the beginning, which is confusing.
Yeah. It's called The Forger, and we recommend it.
Okay. Now for something different.
as we always say.
Yes. This is a new series that's, when did it begin?
It's
February
newish,
3rd on
yes.
Apple TV Plus, yes. Dear Edward. It's created by Jason Katims, who did Friday Night Lights, and it's based on a book by Ann Napolitano. And it's got a wonderful, wonderful cast. Connie Britton, Taylor Schilling, many others.
It's a
and
very
a
much
little
an
boy named
ensemble piece.
who's Edward, Colin O'Brien, who's just lovely. It's a 12-year-old boy. He and his family get on a plane, and they show you other families, other people who are going onto this plane, which crashes. And Edward is the only survivor. And it follows the traumas of his trauma. He's sort of
we only watched 2 episodes so far. We should
yes.
mention.
Debbie told me some things, but
Oh,
yeah.
Debbie.
Nothing much. Just that.
But we're gonna watch more tonight.
And the people around him, the other people who have trauma, and how once again, like in Room, how the press just doesn't let him breathe. There's a scene when he comes home from the hospital finally, and you just say, people, have some humanity. His aunt, Taylor Schilling, and uncle take him in. She's been trying very, very, very hard to have a baby, and instead she gets a full-grown boy.
But this is about. They have the support group for the grief support group.
That's what it's built around. That's what the film. That's
the premise of the series.
Premise, right? Is this support group?
The connections that they build.
How they bond, how they. And you learn about them through this and how they survive this horrific, unbearable loss. It's wonderful. At first we thought it might be a little sappy. Well, it might be a little.
This is one of those things where the trailer doesn't do the show justice. There are so many times.
So many of them.
Yeah, so many times when I watch a trailer and I say, "Oh no, that doesn't seem like something I'm interested." But for me, it's enough to say Connie Britton and I'm there.
Yeah, well, yes, and Connie is, as always, wonderful. But everybody is wonderful.
No, to me, I'm happy she brought me to it, because otherwise I don't think I would have, because it seemed sappy, it seemed depressing. Yeah,
I was interested to watch it, and I was told it was very good.
But you know what I should also always remember? That Apple TV Plus is just really good.
It's really, really
It's just really good.
They don't put crap up on their platform.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful show. It's very moving, and it's very interesting, and I recommend it highly. Don't you, Liron?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dear Edward, Apple TV Plus now.
Happening as we speak.
As we speak.
Lola joined us, by the way. She's right here by the microphone, and she's saying hello. Meow.
If I pet her, you'll be able to hear her purr. That's how loud she purrs, how loudly she purrs. But anyway, and on to now, one of my favorite shows ever in history.
And don't worry, we're not going to give any spoilers.
No. This is the new season, and I think the final season of Happy Valley.
I don't know. They didn't say
Series
if they were
3,
going to
as
have
they
another
call it.
series.
I say season 3.
I don't know if they're going to be renewed, or if they. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was a pretty definitive.
Well, it could still go on.
Yes, I guess it could, but
well, we'll see.
Anyway, created by Sally Wainwright and starring the divine, the most divine, the exceedingly divine Sarah Lancashire, Siobhan Finneran, who I adore, and James Norton. And the battle continues between James Norton and Sarah Lancashire. He's the killer, the man who was responsible for her daughter's suicide.
Among many other.
He's a terrible, awful. He's in prison. She is about to retire, I think. And it's a very thrilling season. It's thrilling. It's terrifying.
And it goes
exciting.
in directions you don't expect. It just finished airing in the UK, by the way. In the US, it will premiere soon on Acorn TV and BBC America.
I think
in May.
It's a stunning season.
Just Sarah. Even just Sarah.
Sarah can do no wrong, and she is at the top of her game in this. It's a depressing show. It was always a depressing show. If it goes on for another 5 years, it will be a depressing show. But there is humor in it. There is
Well, more than anything, there's humanity.
humanity. But there's also terrible people and
Yes.
terrible things that happen.
Yes.
She is, as always, strong and heroic and fearless. It's so deep. It has so much emotion, so much pain in it, but also love. She's raising her grandson, whose father is James Norton, who insists on having a relationship with him. And of
Let's
course,
not
the
give
boy.
anything
No, we're
away.
not. The boy has always been interested in his father, and that's a lot of the conflict centers around that.
Yeah,
That's all.
I also want to highlight Siobhan Finneran.
Oh my
who-
God, Siobhan
who
Finneran is
is
so
also
wonderful,
so
and
good.
she and Sarah together.
Yeah.
They play sisters, and there's a
There's a very special
familial
chemistry.
context that they bring to it that is so brilliant. I love this show.
Yeah.
I cannot speak more highly about anything I've ever watched. I'm sorry to see it go, if it's indeed
And
gone.
it took so long for it to come back.
You know, it takes such a long time. It's a good thing they have a good recap. But once you remember what's at the core of it, but other things happen all around it. I mean,
Always.
It's not just this story. There's another story that's very central to it, and
Oh, and
chilling
Susan
and
Lynch.
fascinating. Oh, Susan Lynch, who I
love Susan
love.
Lynch.
Susan Lynch, who if you watch it, you remember she's the one who murdered her son because he committed a crime, and she knew he couldn't make it in prison, and so she went to prison. And she's out now.
But you know, the women at the center of this series, which is Sarah and Susan Lynch and Siobhan Finneran, I found that their intricacies of their relationships were taken to a new level.
A new level, and I adore the relationship
Yeah.
between Susan Lynch's character
Yeah.
and
And Catherine
Catherine
Kaywood.
Kaywood, right?
We won't tell you.
There's just so much humanity.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it already, do watch it. If you haven't seen the series in
Start
general,
from the beginning.
Yes.
You must.
Yeah,
You must.
but just be prepared. It's heavy stuff.
That's not easy.
It's heavy stuff.
That's right from the get-go.
Yeah, but it's a
not
master class
easy.
in acting.
and
writing.
writing.
Well, I mean, you know,
Sally
Sally
Wainwright
Wainwright
is at the top of her game in
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
without a doubt. I mean,
So versatile.
surprises around every corner and so much heart.
There was only one thing, and we're not going to tell you, but if you already watched, you know, there's only one thing that I found to be a little it was a little bit of a reach that I had to kind of really
Okay, you're
extend.
gonna have to tell me what it
really
is when we're
extend my
finished.
disbelief, you know. Yeah, but anyway, Happy Valley Series 3.
Where do you think it is? It's
Well,
going to
again,
be on Acorn.
It's going to be on Acorn, BBC America, and the US. In Israel, it's on Yes, by the
Yes.
way, and in the UK, it's already finished airing. So yeah,
And it's when is it coming to
the US
Yes,
in May next
May.
month. Yeah, 2 months. Yeah.
Do not miss it.
Right. Now, before we're done, and I know that we're exceeding our time, but I just want to mention two things that this is how long it's taken us to between last time we talked to you and this time. Two seasons that we were really discouraged from watching and ended up not only loving but thinking it's like one of the best things ever. The new season of The Crown.
Oh, I loved it.
Which I guess after the Queen died, a lot of people thought it was inappropriate.
Including
or
Judi Dench.
really.
Yeah, she was so vocal against it.
But I just want to mention, first of all, it's a really, really good season, and Elizabeth Debicki did a great job with Diana.
She really, it's like Diana crawled into her soul and shone out through her
Yeah,
performance.
it was really, really good.
And Imelda
yes,
Staunton.
who
I was
wouldn't
not
even-
excited about
No.
her. I said, I don't see Imelda Staunton in this role at all.
Oh, she was wonderful.
She was superb. Everybody was great.
Yes, the only person who's always wasted is Margaret.
Yes,
Princess Margaret, who in
Leslie
this case,
Manville,
Oh,
one
what
of
a
my
waste.
top favorite actresses.
and Helena Bonham Carter. It's always
Yes,
somebody. Vanessa
always
Kirby.
and Vanessa. Well, actually, Vanessa Kirby
Had more to do.
Had much more to do.
But in
the
recent
first,
seasons,
se-
in recent
seasons.
seasons, Margaret has been usually
she gets one.
wasted. One episode
Yeah.
surrounds
Otherwise, she sits around and drinks in a family gathering here and there.
Yeah, but it was really, really a good season. I don't know why.
Yeah, Dominic West, I was not
He was
thrilled
weak,
with
yeah.
as Charles.
Yeah, I'm never thrilled with him in general.
But great,
Yeah.
great season. Do not listen to people who have
Don't even listen
denigrated
to
it.
Judi Dench.
No, Judi Dench was very mean about it. She treated it as though it was the National Enquirer of TV shows.
Now, the second thing that I wanted to mention is the second season of The White Lotus, which, again, so many people said it was boring, it wasn't good as the first season.
Boring?
I thought it was even better than the first season.
Oh, me too.
First of all, the Italian cast was to die for.
I loved them so much.
The hotel manager we're in love with.
Oh, she's so Valentina.
The two
She
girls,
was divine. Yes.
they added so much. They were like
Charm
yes,
and spice.
yes,
Yes.
The location was gorgeous.
Gorgeous, Italy.
Jennifer Coolidge was
Well, she's already won.
yeah.
Did she win the SAG award?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, she out Jennifer Coolidge herself in this role, and she had so much to do.
What is her name? I'm blanking out on her name.
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza
Yes.
was delicious.
Fantastic,
Loved her.
and also
Yes.
Megan Fahey.
Megan Fahey.
Right? Who,
It was-
from the Bold type.
It was a wonderful cast, and I thought that
And
this,
Theo James, who someone else was supposed to play that role. I don't remember
yes,
who it
Peter
was.
Evans, or was he
No,
the other
Evan
guy?
Peters.
Evan Peters, or was he the
Yeah,
other
no,
guy?
but really, Theo James was perfect.
Last season, maybe because there was more of like the mystery going on. This was more of a case study in human psychology and human relationships.
Relationships.
It
Oh
was
my God.
just so interesting, and it has an addictive style to it, doesn't it? It was really
It also has sort of a psychedelic, not psychedelic.
A little bit.
You know, like you're on drugs a little bit
little
when you're
bit.
watching it, you know?
like you're entering an alternate
An
universe.
alternate universe,
Yeah.
exactly, which you are, in fact. But
Yeah.
you're not in it, but you sort of feel like you do, like you are.
Yeah, they really crawl into your brain and stay
Yeah,
there.
it's very wormy in that way.
Yeah, I'm very happy
Earworm.
that we waited until it was over so we could binge on it, because
And
it
did
was
we
very
binge?
it was very, again, it stayed with us, so we kind of had to get through all of it as fast as possible.
And there's a lot of surprises.
Yeah.
A lot of very surprising things. And
no, it was just terrific. I loved
Jennifer
it.
Coolidge.
I know.
Oh my God.
So anyway, whoever tells you that the second season,
Pay no
wasn't good,
attention to
pay
those
no
people
attention.
behind the screen
Exactly.
whispering in your ear. It's
Exactly.
wrong.
It's wrong.
This is worth every second of your time. You will be so rewarded.
Exactly. So you heard it here. Now go do your homework. You have a whole list.
Enjoy.
Yes. No, it's fun homework. It's fun
Exactly.
homework. And thank you for waiting for us. Thank you for coming back
Thank you for
to
listening
us.
if you're still there.
If you're still there. And we're back. We'll
Yes.
be doing these way more often.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week. We hope
Yes.
you're having good weather where you
Oh,
are.
yes, it's beautiful
that
here.
spring is
New York.
coming, that you're seeing your
I can
shadow,
feel
whatever.
it, you know. I can smell it in the air. Or that might be your pasta. I don't know. Anyway,
We'll talk to you soon.
bye.
Bye.